Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my January show and tell. I love show and tells. They're basically my favorite thing, and if you only knew the amount of rearranging of my room required to do these, you would be impressed, because I usually have to surround myself with piles of things and then I still manage to forget something inevitably every time. But my list of all of the things that I have been loving is long. So maybe get a snack, beverage, something to do, because this is going to be a long one, like usual. Anyways, okay, so if you are new to my show and tells, they're basically like my monthly favorites videos, although it's not always favorites. Sometimes it's just stuff I want to talk about or share or show, even if it wasn't my favorite thing ever. But most of the time, it's like 99.9% of the time, like really super positive, because that's how I roll. But anyways, I also almost inevitably forget at least one category of things I want to talk about every video. So here's wishing me some luck that I'll actually remember everything I want to share this time. So fingers crossed. Anyways, all right, so I want to start off with some YouTube things, some video things, all of that kind of stuff. So first off, I want to share that there were a couple really fun things that I did in January that you want to check out if you're here on YouTube. The first of these, I have a monthly series where I do live streams talking about anything and everything that could be put under the umbrella of eclectic witchcraft, which leaves it pretty wide open because eclectic witchcraft is, well, eclectic. So I actually had a really super fun live stream right at the beginning of January, and I had a guest. So the lovely and knowledgeable and super sassy Sammy Menzo came on my channel. If you don't know Sammy, if you don't follow Sammy, her YouTube channel is Samantha Menzo. And we had a chat about astrology, and it was phenomenal. It was so much fun just to pick her brain and talk about astrology. We had an absolute blast. We probably could have stayed on that live stream for many hours, but it was super fun, and if you haven't checked it out, you really should. I will have a link to that in the description box down below. I have another special guest coming up for February's Eclectic Witchcraft, so stay tuned for more on that if I haven't announced it yet, because I haven't at the time I'm filming this, but by the time you see this video, maybe I will have. I don't know yet. Anyways, stay tuned for that, because that's going to be also super fun. And I'm excited about having guests on Eclectic Witchcraft here or there, so keep your eyes peeled. Those are really fun and engaging conversations. Speaking of live streams, I also had the great pleasure to be on one of Dawn Michelle's channels, her second channel actually, called Boho Bloom, which is all about her journals and her journaling. And if you didn't know that existed, now you know. Go get you subscribed. But it was really fun. We just got together for a live stream and just talked about journal stuff for a little over an hour. I think we were on for about an hour and a half or so. It was really fun. Check that out. If you have missed it somehow, if you've been under a rock this month, I have done a whole journaling series here on this channel where I shared with you all of my 2021 setups, which I will admit have already changed some since I filmed and released those videos. For all of you guys who are watching those videos, how is it you have so many journals? How are you not overwhelmed? I don't know. I'm not, and I'm having the most amazing time with it all. But it's all really nourishing, good, supportive stuff. And it looks like a lot, but I don't actually spend that much time on any one thing because I'm also inherently lazy. But more on that to come. I'm sure I will be talking more about my journals and planning systems and all of that kind of stuff. But I've been having a blast sharing that stuff during January. So if you've been missing deck walkthroughs and things like that, not to worry, because I will definitely be playing catch up in February, because there are so many decks I want to be sharing with you guys and talking about. So watch for that to come. And I've also been reading a ton. We'll be talking about my books at the end of this month. At the end of this video, not at the end of this month. We'll be talking about books I've been reading a little bit later on. But anyway, other fun YouTube things. So if you aren't subscribed to Old Soul Mermaid, I have been thoroughly enjoying her channel in January. And she has been releasing a bunch of deck collection videos, which if you're anything like me, you love a good deck collection video, and she's got a bunch of them up. She categorized her decks by publisher and indie and mass market and all these kinds of things. It's been so much fun. She's been putting out so much great content. I've really been enjoying watching. So I will have a link to her video playlist or channel down below, something so that you can go check it out because they have been a lot of fun. I did a video. I just realized I'm totally not wearing any of my new glasses right now. That had been the plan. I was going to wear them. I've been wearing them a ton. But anyways, if you haven't seen my glasses video, you should probably check that out. It was when I discovered this particular filming setup that you are seeing now, which I believe is my best quality setup I've had yet. So I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, that's the video where I first tried this on. A lot of my content is filmed in various settings and like at different times and places. So you'll see this quality occasionally until I get it rolled out as like my main setup. But definitely for face on videos, I'm liking this like a lot. A couple more YouTube things because it's been a lot of fun YouTube things. Candy, Soul, and Soil's Dating the Tarot tag has been so much fun to explore and make a VR to, which I will link somewhere, and watch other people's VRs to. I'm sure you've seen this tag floating around, but if you haven't, click the tag from Candy, Soul, and Soil's video, which I will link down below, and explore the tag. I think she has a playlist of everybody's videos. I'm going to try to have all the useful links for everything down below, but if I don't, just follow the breadcrumbs. You will definitely find it. That was such a fun tag, and Candy, you are amazing because that was so creative and fun. Magic stuff, herbs, crystals, all of that good stuff. I did a live unboxing of a new, to me, subscription box called Apothecary at Home. I will link that unboxing down below. If you're looking for an herbal study box, something really substantial and meaty, that one is definitely worth checking out. I haven't gotten to dive into any of the exercises in my Apothecary at Home box, but it is on my list. I can't wait to do it. Magic, crystal, all that kind of stuff. There's a few crystals I wanted to talk about. Well, two things primarily. So the first of those, this is a really, really lovely mala that was made for me by Danny of Danny Mystic. It is stunning. It's got this very like oceany, earthy kind of vibe to it. It's more water than earth, but it still has lots of both. And I adore this. And I have been using this particular mala a lot in my meditation practice. And when I'm sitting at my altar, it's been really, really lovely. And I have a real thing for prayer beads and malas, and I love that tactile experience of having something to hold and to work with during prayer, during meditation, and these have been really, really lovely. I've been reaching for them a lot during January, so I really wanted to share those. And I've also been reaching a lot. This is probably one of my favorite crystals like of all time. I've shown it before, but this is my Anhydro Agate, and my microphone's here, so I'm going to see if I can actually get the microphone to pick it up. Hold on. I don't know if you could hear that. I guess I'll find out in editing. But this is a really special one. An Anhydro Agate is an agate that has formed around seawater, basically, or around water. Typically it's seawater because these are so old because, of course, the water that's in them is, like to form a whole stone around it, it's just, these are really exciting to me because to me they feel like they hold a piece of the ocean in them. This one I really lucked out because it's got quite a large space inside, and the water that's trapped in there you can audibly hear when you shake it. You can feel it, you can hear it, and in the right light you can definitely see the actual water moving around in there. And I just think it's the most fascinating, cool thing ever. So I love using this stone. It lives with my ocean altar, and I do a lot of meditation work with this stone when I want to connect to that ocean energy. It's not like a shell as far as its energetic properties. It's literally like holding, I don't know, like a jar of seawater or something, but just more primordial than that. I don't know, but I've talked about it before. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I've been reaching for it a bunch in January. Oh, of course, my pendant, which I've also been wearing for a bit, not through all of January, but I would say the second half of January or so, I've been wearing this one a lot. This is one that was originally in a Witch's Bounty box that I didn't get, but then a couple of these pendants showed up on the Witch's Moon's Moon Market, and I was able to scoop one up. It is a petrified seashell, and it's got a silver filigree setting, and I love it. I am very much connected to the ocean and to oceanic energies, and especially lately I've been doing a lot of work with my spiritual path around that stuff, and I have been reaching for a lot of my oceany things of late, and this is no exception. So I've been really, really loving that. Okay, so this is actually my favorite moisturizer texture of all time. Like if you like body and beauty kind of stuff and you like a good hand cream or a good moisturizer, this stuff is the best. So I found out about this years ago on YouTube. The company is the Fortune Cookie Soap Company, and they have a type of moisturizer called whipped cream. And they always have these collections that come out. They have like a subscription box you can get, and they have these collections that come out and they're always themed around something fun and pop culture. So that's super fun. But then for a while they had these events. I don't know if they still do them, but they had these events where you could like request scents that they've had in the past. And anyways, I found this one that's called Unicorn Farts, which I had to get because unicorns and farts, because I have Peggy and it just works. If you watch the channel, you probably know that it works. But anyway, Unicorn Farts is, it's just funny to say that. It's a light pink color. It's like floral and kind of sweet and lovely. But honestly, I'm going to put some on right now. Honestly, what's great about the Fortune Cookie Soap whipped cream is that the texture of this is like, it's like a thick, like a body butter almost kind of texture when you put it on, but then it like absorbs and your hands aren't greasy. It's the weirdest, coolest thing if you are a texture snob when it comes to like hand creams and moisturizers and stuff. This one's just, it's so lovely. And they've got so many wonderful scents. So Fortune Cookie Soap Company, check that out. I love this one. I love it. I don't know why I'm smelling the closed jar when I could just smell my hands. It smells really good. That's literally the only thing body and beauty wise I think I really wanted to share. I can't think of anything else. As always, I'm always dipping into my Witch's Moon like oils that I get in my Roots box or that I've had from previous Witch's Moon boxes, and those are great as well to use as bath oils or massage oils or to rub into your hands or your feet. So those are lovely for that, but this has been what I've been geeking out on, so I had to share it. TV and movies. Literally the only things I've watched besides YouTube here and there has been, unless I'm forgetting something, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I've been getting caught up on that, and I'm still in season 3. I think I have like one episode of season 3, and then I get to start dipping into season 4. So that's been really fun. Also, the only other thing I think in January that I've been watching is WandaVision, which if you have been watching any of the Marvel stuff, like the Avengers and all that kind of stuff, WandaVision, really enjoying the heck out of that show. And the episodes are so short and they're dripping them out. Ooh, there's a new one to watch. I just realized we have to watch the new one. That might be what we have to do later. Anyways, I'm such a squirrel. I forget. Anyways, but those are the things I watched. Sabrina and WandaVision. Oh, and I finished She-Ra in December with my friend. We watch it every weekend. Finally finished She-Ra. Now we're watching Hilda, which is so cute. We've only watched 2 episodes so far because we started it this month, but it's really cute, and I'm really glad that we're watching it. So I will keep you posted. It feels like this individual episodes are very like episodic. I'm sure there's a better way to explain that. It feels like the individual episodes are like kind of standalone and then kind of connect, but it feels less, I guess, kind of soap opera-y in the sense that, am I making any sense? Comment below if you understand at all what I'm saying, but it's like each one kind of, you can watch it and there's not a lot of cliffhangers. Maybe that's what it is. Let's talk about food. There have been some fun things, most of which are meaty. I apologize for all of you non-meat eaters, but I've been playing with the Instant Pot, which I got for Peggy, which I may as well have just gotten for myself because I'm more excited about using it, I feel like, than she is. Like, she's fine with using it, but like I get really excited to pull out the Instant Pot and use it. And I have made a couple things that I'm really excited about. One, I made a barbecue pulled pork that I was sure I had wrecked because of all the becauses. Like, you're supposed to like sear the meat, but then I cut the meat too small, so then I was worried it was going to be overcooked. And then I put it in the Instant Pot for probably way too long, and I made like this on the fly. I was trying to come up with like a barbecue sauce for the barbecue pulled pork that wouldn't have as much sugar. So like I used the Soda Stream. This is so ridiculous. I used the Soda Stream to make some Diet Coke. And I mixed some Diet Coke with the pulled pork seasoning and added some tomato paste. And this probably sounds disgusting, but I felt like Coke would make a good like kind of sugary substitute for the brown sugar it was calling for in the recipe. I mean, like, you'd have to be in my head, but it made sense, and it came out so good. It wasn't like perfect barbecue in the sense that it did taste like different, but it was good different. It wasn't bad different. And I seasoned it, and I felt very creative. And I'm not creative in the kitchen. I like to follow recipes. I am not creative in the kitchen. So I was very proud of myself, and it came out really good. And then later in the month, I made like ribs in the Instant Pot. And like, I will never make ribs any other way. You put the ribs in the Instant Pot. I did it twice in January. The first time I put a little juice box size thing of orange juice, apple juice, a little juice box size thing of apple juice in the bottom, and then filled the juice box back up with water, put that in there. And then what else did I add? Anything? Oh, and a little teeny splash of apple cider vinegar. And I just put the ribs in. I dry rubbed them with some seasoning, put the ribs in there, and like cooked them for like 40 minutes, I think. And when they were done, you could like just pull the bones out. Like, it was the most delicious, tender. It was so good. It was so good. I'm like drooling thinking about it, and I'm not even hungry, but it was so good. And then I did it again because it was really good. It was yummy. So I don't think I'll ever make them any other way, and you don't have to babysit them. And then I just pull them out, and then we just brush them with barbecue sauce and we eat them. Peggy doesn't have them with barbecue sauce. Steve and I do. We could brush them with barbecue sauce and like put them in the oven to like brown it all up and make it like extra nice, but that's too much work, and I'm lazy, so that's not happening. But let's just say that the Instant Pot meats I've been making have been coming out real good. Kind of tangentially related to food and beverages and things like that. Well, I guess it is a beverage. I discovered a new tea, and I am loving it. It is by Tetley, and it's a super tisane. It says it's called Antiox. Oh, I'm reading the French side. Hold on. Yeah, Antiox. Vitamin C is a dietary antioxidant, and it's got, I guess it's a source of vitamin T, but it's basically an apple, cinnamon, and turmeric tea with vitamin C. That's what the can looks like. And this literally, and I'm a bit of a geek about tea or something. I don't know if geek's the right word. I like to put creamer in any kind of tea I drink, but if you put real cream in tea that has certain kinds of like fruits and things in it, the cream will curdle. So you have to like be picky. But I drink non-dairy vanilla creamer, so that doesn't curdle. So I can put creamer in this and it's delicious. Probably most of you would be like, ew, because this isn't the kind of tea you would normally put creamer in, but I put creamer in it and it was delicious. And it turned like this creamy golden yellow color because of the turmeric, and you could taste the turmeric, and it blended really good with the apple and cinnamon, and it was just all really super yummy. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm going to have some in like a minute. So I really want it now. So I'm pretty sure that's it for food. We're into random. Now, I inevitably always forget something in the random section. I'm going to do my best. I've literally piled things onto my lap so that I won't forget things. But first, I want to talk about my ocean runes. I don't know if or my shell runes. I don't know if I've talked about these before. I have been using runes and integrating them into other practices for a little bit now. I use rune cards in my client readings. I always pull one rune, at least lately, for client readings. I do rune draws here and there for other purposes, but for me, I have been drawing a rune a night from my shell rune set and doing that as part of my like nightly spiritual practice, and I've been really enjoying it. So I don't know if I've shown these before. I got these from a shop on Etsy. They're very simply just pieces of oyster shell that have been polished by the sea. So they've just been collected from a beach, and the person I bought it from used what looks like a gold paint pen to just mark the runes on there. They're super simple. I just didn't have to go find and collect all the pieces myself, and they are from a Pacific beach, like in my general area, like further away from where I live, but it's geographically they come from somewhere close-ish. Does that make sense? So they've got like a little bit of local energy too. But anyways, they kind of look like this. I don't know if the camera's gonna focus, but they're just these like pieces of shell that have the runes on them, and I've just been really enjoying working with these. Again, these live on my ocean altar and have been a part of my nightly spiritual practice, so I've been really enjoying pulling from there. I have a bunch of like kind of Peggy related things to talk about, but first I want to talk about a couple things that came to me as gifts that I was really pleased by. So the first thing, well, I'm gonna have to show these first because they're rolling away from me. These are astrological dice, so let's see, that's what they look like. And so there's one that has all of the, has numbers 1 through, I have to use this hand. It's numbers 1 through 12 for each of the 12 astrological houses. This one has all of the 12 zodiac signs, and this one has the planets, including North Node, or I guess I should say plus North Node and South Node. They're all 12-sided die, so I haven't played with them yet, but they are out and they're on my reading table for me to kind of toy around with. But those were sent to me along with, this is so much fun, and I will try to wear it at some point and show you guys, but it's a dress that is this beautiful like tarot pattern. Like it's got like tarot cards and like a palmistry palm and like moons and suns. How fun is that? So I haven't like worn it anywhere yet, but I am planning to, and I will try to remember to take like a photo that I can share with you guys. But that was super fun, and I had to talk about it. Something else, especially when I'm talking about my spiritual practice, that has been really, really wonderful, which I know I've been talking about my journals a lot in January, but this one, which is my nighttime diary, basically has been such a touchstone for me. It's been really, really good. So this journal has a paper blanks book in it, and I just fill out, this is a B6 size, and I just fill out one of these pages a day. And it has been so nice before bed to just kind of recap my day, write about anything of note that I just want to leave a record, you know what I mean? Like make a record of, make a note of. It's just been really nice. It's been really nice. And I feel like I've been sleeping better ever since I started doing a page a night before I go to bed. And it's been very easy to be consistent about it, and I'm really thrilled. And it just feels nice that it's in like this special cover, and I'm really enjoying it. So I really wanted to mention that. And randoms, okay. So many things, but Peggy has been making fun things. And there's a few things that I've ended up with that I wanted to share. I've talked to you guys before about her like 2-pocket wrap bags. Well, she made me this one. She had run out of her elastic to wrap around the bag. And I was like, that's okay. I just wanted it right away. And I was impatient. I was like, I think I want one without elastic anyway. So this is this adorable like woodland creature fabric. Am I holding it upside down? I am. Anyways, it opens like this, and then there's this beautiful dark blue. I used this all through January to hold my decks that I've been working with, and it was great. I love the bright, like it's not as bright as it probably looks on camera, but this is like a nice like jewel toned blue backing. I loved that. I loved all the animal vibes. It made me happy. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And she also had rolled out, and you've probably seen it by now because we did the announcement video and a bunch of you guys saw it. Peggy rolled out the single pocket wrap bags, and I ended up with 3 of them because she loves me and I'm spoiled. But the first one I wanted to show you guys that I ended up with is this design here. It's this really pretty pattern, and it's this gorgeous purple on the inside. So you put your deck in here, and then the whole thing unrolls, and you have like a 3-card wrap. This is the first one she made me, and it's a little bit longer, like it's like extra long. Love that one. Then she made me this one, and I think she did sell a couple of these also. And this one's got a really pretty peach on the inside. I love these like a lot. And this one just made me so dang happy. It's catacorns. Look, it's catacorns. They're so cute. So, and this one opens up into a pretty lavender. Look at that. It's got like your spot for your cards. Isn't that cute? These things hold so many different like sizes and types of decks, and I'm all about it. So I am super excited to have these. I've been holding them in my little bin where I put my stuff to talk about in my favorites video for like a while now because I didn't want to forget to talk about them. And then this couple days ago, I feel like 2 days ago at the time I'm filming this, we were just farting around and I said I really wanted a book sleeve. So we were playing around with some designs, and she made me a few book sleeves. So these are freaking awesome. So this is the first size she made, and she made it out of this cool grimoire fabric. And this one is about the right size to hold like a smaller paperback or like a tarot book, or I don't have any books handy that like I want to shove in here, but like this is the smaller one. And then we figured this was probably a little too small, not quite as versatile. So then we came up with 2 other sizes, and I grabbed these fabrics. And this size is like the perfect size for like even chunky, thick paperbacks. It's great. Book sleeves are really great if you chuck your book in bags and things like that, and you have a tendency to have things that like get into your pages and like mash up the edges, and like it just keeps everything a little safer. So we came up with a size that would work for like most of my paperbacks and smaller fiction like hardbacks, and then a jumbo size that would hold basically anything else I might be carting around. This size literally holds Holistic Tarot by Annabelle Wen, or my Chronicles of Narnia book, which is chunky. If you will, you'll see the size of those. If you go check out my books I want to read in 2021 video, which I'll try to remember to have linked down below, you'll see the size of some of the books, but this is like for all the big, beefy, like jumbo books. And this is basically most things. So this will hold bigger hardbacks. It'll hold like big chunky softbacks. Anyways, so now I have some book sleeves, which is fun. And for those of you who I'm sure are probably going to ask, I don't know when these will end up on the shop. This design is really, really nice. We might play around with a couple of other designs to see, but I really want her to have book sleeves on the shop eventually. But she's also been really busy. So we'll see how that comes about. But I'm really loving all of these and loving all the things. So I now have my own personal set, and I wanted to share. But actually, the thing I think I'm probably most excited about that she made for me this month, especially because I kind of have all these like honeydew things that I really want her to sew for me, but she's usually really busy. So I try not to bug her too much. And then every once in a while, she'll be like, okay, I'm in a space where I just kind of want to get caught up on any of the things you might want, and I can get a few projects out of her all in one go, and it's glorious. So some of you may recognize this bag. Now, this is one of... I'm going to hold it over here. This is one of the first Peggy bags that she ever made. It has a little carry handle. It has a little button and a buttonhole. It's padded. It's like boxed on the bottom, so it's kind of a box shape. And this is what one of my most precious decks has been. I mean, this is such a rudimentary design compared to what she does now. It's kind of funny, but it's so sweet, right? But this was one of the first bags she made me, and she made it for me to hold one of my most precious decks. And that is my Soul Cards 1 and 2 combined deck, which are these. If you haven't seen these, I've had these for 20 plus years. I'm very, very, very bonded to these. Apparently I can't hold them without shuffling. I love these cards so much. So they had basically the very first bag Peggy really made me, and it was specifically sized to hold this deck and have room on top for a crystal. When Peggy came up with her new bag design, I was like, oh my gosh. So I checked to see if that design would hold my Soul Cards 1 and 2, and it would perfectly, like a glove, hold my Soul Cards 1 and 2 combined deck. So she let me pick out some fabrics, and look what she made me. Oh my God, it's so pretty. So anyways, I'm like fussing with it because I was just going to put it back in. But this is the fabric here. It's this gorgeous like wavy pattern. And then on the inside, it's this beautiful blue with all these like little stars all over it. And what's neat about this is that these bags that she makes are reversible. So I can have either side on the outside, but it literally holds my Soul Cards perfectly. And she custom did the length for me because I wanted, when my Soul Cards were all wrapped up, I wanted the bag to wrap like into this perfect shape here. The neat thing about these bags is that no matter how it wraps, it's secure because of the elastic that goes around it. But I was like, I could be picky because she was feeling generous. So I was, and it's great. And I love that my Soul Cards have such a special, cozy home now where they can just live and be secure. And oh, it makes me so happy. This is a deck that just needs a special, special bag because it's a special, special deck. So yeah, really wanted to share that. Memories. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of the things I actually wrote down as a memory I wanted to share was Peggy coming up with her new wrap bag design. I'm really excited about it. She's really excited about it. It was really fun seeing her get so like pumped to like put out something new, to add something new to what she does. And so that was a lot of fun, and we kind of worked on it together when she was first hashing out what the design was going to look like and what size was going to work to fit the most things and all of that stuff. So it was a really fun kind of collaborative process, especially in the beginning. And it just got her excited about everything again, and it was really, really fun to watch. So that was definitely a memory that I wanted to mention for January. I have been doing, some of you guys, especially if you're in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group, you will have seen that I have been doing a webinar series with the Yoga Alliance on the self-worth path. That has been incredibly rewarding and fun to do. Each episode in this webinar series is about an hour long and covers a different area in the self-worth path. And at the time I'm filming this, there are 2 more webinars left, so I will try to remember to have links down below to the both upcoming sessions that are left. But the ones that have already been done are still available on Yoga Alliance's YouTube channel to watch back if you're interested. But I've done a talk so far on body acceptance, self-care, and self-awareness, and we have accountability and integration coming up in February. Those, again, have been a lot of fun. I love doing public speaking. I definitely think the webinars feel a little different than most public speaking things that I've done because the audience is like, you can't see them. So that's been interesting. And it's weird because YouTube, I can't see you guys while I'm filming or anything either, but it just, I don't know, it felt different. So I was really nervous for the first one and still a bit nervous by the second one. By the third one, found my groove. Although I do think they all came out fine. So if you are interested in checking those out, I will have those linked down below. If I remember to link all the things, and if I don't, please feel free to remind me in the comments and I will happily share those links with you guys. And then the other thing I wanted to share is I had a really great tarot reading from my friend Erica. She did an amazing job. Her website is ericafarmertarot.com, I believe, but I will have it linked down below. But she just did really beautiful, compassionate, but also very potent reading for me. She actually did 2 readings kind of synergized together, and it was really a lovely experience. So I will link her website down below so you can check that out. If you want somebody who's very knowledgeable about tarot and will give you that sort of gentle, nurturing reading, but also be very much a truth teller, Erica is great for that. And it was a really nice reading. And I don't get readings for myself very frequently, but I do get them. So usually I would say 2 to 3 times a year. I had a really wonderful natal reading, natal chart reading by Samantha Menzo in December. It must have been December. Yeah, it was December. And then I had these tarot readings by Erica in January. So that's actually the closest together I've actually gotten readings for myself in quite a while. And it was just a really good experience. You guys were at books and decks. How long have I been talking? Probably too long, but that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna do this thing. So books, I'm really excited because I did a lot of reading in January and I have a lot to gush about the books I've been reading. The only nonfiction book I read, or at least I should say finished in January, is Anhydro Agate's Charge and the Energy Body. This book was so good. I picked this up during a Hay House sale, so I think I got it for like 50% off or something really crazy. I have a very beefy book by Anhydro Agate called Eastern Body, Western Mind that is incredible, and it sort of links Western psychology or psychological concepts with the chakra system, and it's really cool. She does a really in-depth look at all that stuff. It's a very meaty book. I wouldn't say it's the most accessible if you're just getting started on reading about chakras and things, but Anhydro Agate is somebody that I personally consider to be an expert on the chakras, and Charge and the Energy Body is so good. It was such a good read. She gets into the chakras in here, of course, but what the book is mostly focused on is the concept of charge. And there's all kinds of ways you could look at this concept, but she has provided a model for looking at this concept that is really relatable. I think it's easy to understand. I think it's easy to apply a lot of the concepts that she's talking about in your real life, and none of it feels like it's talking over my head, which is really nice. Charge as a concept is like anytime you feel intensity, good or bad, basically. But she calls it charge, and then she also talks about moving charge through the body. She talks about, essentially what she's talking about is energy. But the word charge immediately makes so much sense, particularly with the examples that she gives and the way that she outlines it. Highly recommend. If you are interested even remotely in the chakras, I think you'd find this a very intriguing and enjoyable read. And if you are interested in personal growth and really working on yourself, I think this is a really good book for that as well. And I'm sure you'll hear me talk about this more, but really enjoyed that. Finally finished it in January, but I think I started it in like November. So I'm a little slower to go through a lot of my nonfiction books, but this was good, and I definitely wanted to shout it out. Oh, hold on. Before I talk about the highlight of my January reading-wise, we need to talk about this book. Tarot by Marissa Kennerson. I DNF'd this book, which basically means I didn't finish it. Did not finish. DNF. I could not handle this book. I could not. This is a fiction book, And I was excited about the concept of this book because it says it's called tarot. Also, the cover art is by Danielle Noel, the creator of the Star Child Tarot and the Moonchild Tarot. And I was like, it looks like a fun read. It's not terribly thick. It's only like 300, is it 300 pages? Not even. It's not even 300 pages. I was like, easy breezy read. I'll probably really enjoy the heck out of this. You guys, I could not. And I think it's because the character names in the first couple chapters are literally the Fool, the Hierophant King, the Magician. Could we have names, please? Could our characters have names? Like, I understood what the author was trying to do, but it felt way too literal. And I was like, the idea of reading a novel that was based around the world, like a world built that's based on the tarot, was so exciting to me. But like, it was so literal. Why didn't the Fool have a name? And I mean, to be fair, I didn't really give it that much of a shake. I think I got through like the third chapter and was like, I'm not doing this. There was, again, some cool concepts, but like some people had names, but then there was the Hermit. I'm like midway through the book just looking. Nope, still just the Magician, the Hermit, the Magician, the Hermit. Could they not have names? Could they not be so-and-so the Magician or so-and-so the Hermit? And like once it was established that that's who we were dealing with, then we could just have names. I just found it so distracting and so difficult to read. This might be an incredible story, but the fact that's what it was the Magician. I couldn't. Like, she went to the land of the Pentacles. I would have loved this exact same story. I probably would have loved it if it was all allegorical. Maybe that's not the right word. Somebody who knows words maybe has to correct me on that. But like, if there was like a lush green world that was very earthy, and then there was a watery world, and then there was a fiery world, and then there was like an air world, even if there were like the symbols of the suit scattered about these worlds, but to literally call it the Land of Pentacles and the Land of Swords and the Land of Cups and like the Tower and the Hierophant King, and like, no, I could not. If anybody who is watching this read this and absolutely loved it, I am so sorry. I just didn't have the patience for it. I wanted it to be not quite so literal. It might be an incredible story. I have no idea, because I could not. I'm going to stop talking about that now because I'm starting to sound mean, and that is never my intention. I just really didn't enjoy it, and I wanted to so bad. And I thought, I don't feel like I'm very picky. I feel like I could enjoy most stories, most movies, most books, but that was too literal. I couldn't. And maybe it's just because I care so much about the tarot that I just was very picky about it. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts down below if you've read it. Curious if it's just me. Anyway. However, the Sweep series by Kate Tiernon, we need to talk about this. Book 1. Okay, so the Sweep series, this is circa 2000. I want to say this is like early 2000s this series came out. Let's see. Sweep Volume 1. What does the copyright say? 2001. Okay, so I was right. So the Sweep series is a series of short books, less than 200 pages each, 15 books in total. And I managed to find books 1, 2, 4, and 5 on Book Outlet for crazy cheap. So I went on a mission and I tracked down, volumes 1, 2, 4, and 5. Each volume has 3 books in the series. You can also buy them as individual books, but once I found volumes 1, 2, 4, and 5 on Book Outlet, I wanted volume 3 so that they would all match. Because anybody else have that issue where it's like, you can't have, it's kind of like having a softback version of book 1 of something and then a hardback of book 2 or the other way around. It like bugs me. I'll still do it if it's the only way to get like the stories for like in physical form, but like I would prefer they all match. Anyways, the Sweep series by Kate Tiernon, and maybe everybody else had heard about these but me. I feel like I was super late to this party, and it could just be because these are very much YA, like young adult style books, and by the time these came out, I was definitely adult. So maybe that's why I never encountered them. I'm actually just finishing up the last book of book 5 or volume 5 at the time that I am recording this, and I will finish it probably the next day or two. I love these so much. I did finish volume 1, volume 2, Volume 3 and Volume 4 all in January. And since each volume is somewhere in the ballpark of 600 pages, that's 6 times 5, 3,000-ish ballpark, 3,000-ish pages. These are good. These, in my opinion, these are good. These, oh my gosh, where to even begin? These are like, these books remind me of, how do I even categorize these? I want to say these books remind me of like Charmed as a show, except less fantastical. Where Charmed, there was like magical demons and things. There's a little tiny bit of that in the Sweep series, but the Sweep series is founded on, or its foundation, I should say, is traditional Wicca in a lot of ways. And in fact, there's a lot of really beautiful explorations into Wicca in this series that are heartwarming for me in ways that I find it really hard to describe, that bring back memories of my time in circle with people. And a lot of the concepts shared are just so beautifully shared. It shares really the healing, positive, nourishing side of Wicca, but there's also this like fantasy level of magic that weaves its way through the stories from beginning to end and keeps you captivated. So it's like this beautiful blend of like not real magic and Wiccan magic. And it kind of mushes them together. And there's a lot of really great things in here about the runes and the use of runes magically. I think if you're very old guard or very like traditional in your experience around Wicca or the use of runes or things like that, this might feel a little incongruous. Is that the right word? Inconsistent? Inaccurate? I don't know. Based on my own personal lived experience in Wiccan Circle and exploring Wicca when I was younger, this feels like coming home in a way. A lot of the concepts they talked about. Something else I really loved about this book is the way that different religious paths were treated so respectfully. So there are characters in this book that are, in this series, that are Catholic. And in fact, the protagonist throughout most of these books was raised Catholic. And turns out she's a blood witch and has real magical powers. And I don't think there's any spoilers in this because you discover this stuff early on. But she's exploring Wicca. She's also exploring her heritage as a magical, have somebody with magical abilities. But she was raised Catholic, and she still enjoys and engages in some of those practices. And it's all explored very beautifully and respectfully in a way where a book like this or a series like this, especially from like 20 years ago, gosh, 20 years ago now, I would expect the treatment of Christianity or Catholicism to have been handled much more poorly. That sounds bad, but like, I know that when I was coming out as a baby witch, it was hard to not feel contentious with Christianity or with Catholicism. I'm definitely not in that place now. And I just feel like the author treated those topics so well and so beautifully to make everything, you know, while maybe people struggled with not fully understanding one another all the time, there was never this like vilification of Catholicism or Christianity in this book, in this series. And there also wasn't vilification of Wicca and witchcraft. That moment when my battery dies and I'm like, I've been talking about this for way too long. Anyways, I forget what I was saying. I was babbling about how beautifully the Christianity and Wicca and the harmony and all of that was handled. I have been loving these books, and they have actually in a lot of ways rekindled a part of me and a part of my spiritual practice and my Wiccan practice, or my roots, I guess I could say, in Wicca. Elements of that I missed that I wanted to reincorporate. There's also some really beautiful little spells in the story that are really super simple, and I've planned to, when I finish reading the stories, because now I'm on the final volume, the final book in the final volume, volume 5. Now that I'm in the last volume and I'm finishing it up, I realize that what I want to do when I'm all done is go back through and find some of those little charms and spells and write them down, because some of them are really sweet. There's one in there about feeling safe and held when you go to sleep at night. There's just a lot of really beautiful gems of what I remember about first learning about Wicca and witchcraft in my own life But again, it's still within the realm of this. These are still fantasy. These still have fantasy elements. These still have not real elements, dark forces and things like that. But it's all much more... I keep wanting to say magical realism, and I don't know if I'm using that term appropriately because I am not a book person that way to know all the terms, but that's kind of what I would imagine magical realism would be, is like magic you could almost envision fitting into our real world because it's woven in so masterfully. Oh my gosh. Anyways, loved these so much, and this last book feels like it's pure just for fans of the series. Like it's like a gift to fans of the series, and you can kind of tell that with the dedication of these last 3 books that's in this volume. But I'm really enjoying the wrap up that's happening in this last volume. So anyways, I thoroughly enjoy these. I will be keeping these, which to me is a really good testament to how much I enjoyed something, because I will read this series again and again. So enjoyable. It just really made my own connection to magic and spirituality feel richer somehow. Anyways, I'm going to stop because I'm gushing, but I really, really enjoyed these. So can't recommend them enough if you get a chance. I found volume 3 was like almost impossible to find, but the individual books in volume 3, wait, this is volume 1. This one was volume 3. I found my copy on Abe Books. My copy came in and was super battered. But you can find it in used booksellers, but you can also buy the individual books, which are The Calling, Changeling, and Strife. And I will say that of all of the volumes, this one, as far as the story goes, was my least favorite. So that could be why this one's harder to find. I don't know. They were all really good, but this one just dragged for me a little bit, whereas all the other ones have felt like the pacing was really good, and I enjoyed all of them. But that one I gave that one, I think, 3 stars when I wrote it down. So that one less so, but oh my gosh, so good. Good to the point where I have put in my book wish list another short 3-book series, I think, that Kate Tiernon wrote that I want to read, because I loved how she handled this series so much. Okay, I'm going to stop, or we're going to be here a bazillion hours while I talk just about books. Last category is decks. If you've hung out this long, thank you. I hope this isn't a disappointment, because I only have a few decks to talk about. And that is because, at least so far in 2021, my plan is to slow down and work with decks for a little longer at a time. So throughout January, the tarot deck that I used exclusively, actually, for myself, for my own daily draws, is Paula Cassidy's Joie de Vivre Tarot. So if you have not seen this, it is so charming. The characters in this deck are full of life, and I had a freaking blast working with this deck in January. It is gorgeous in every way. Very vibrant colors, really, really great characters that just come to life on the card. And I've read the little white book that came with this deck over and over again. The messages are great. These characters all have names. I have filmed and will be putting up sometime in the next couple of weeks a deep dive of this deck with my full thoughts on having worked with it for an entire month. But I really, really enjoyed it and definitely wanted to mention it. The Oracle deck that I used beside it most of the time is the Spirit Song Tarot, also by Paulina Cassidy. This is not an Oracle deck, but it functions very beautifully as an Oracle deck or as a tarot deck. What's wonderful about this deck is that you have all of this animal energy, and you also have keywords. Now, this is a deck that I had rehomed and then missed, and was recently gifted to me off of my Amazon wish list, which was really sweet. So I have it back again, and I used it all month long, and I freaking loved it. And again, I will talk in much more detail when I go through the Joie de Vivre in like how I worked with it. But just to sum up, what I ended up doing is I would pull one of these cards first for my daily draw, and this would form the foundation of my reading. And because there were 2 keywords, so for example, the 6 of Shells says sentiment and joy, I would actually draw my tarot cards from the Joie de Vivre tarot based on those keywords. So for example, sentiment, I would say, maybe that's a bad example. How would I have done that one? I guess it depends on what I was thinking of after I sat with the first card for a bit. but I might go, maybe where am I feeling sentimental, or what am I feeling sentimental about, and what can that teach me? And then I would draw a tarot card. And then I would use the other keyword, which in this case is joy, to springboard or come up with another question that I would then ask the tarot for my day ahead. So it might be, where can I seek joy today? Or where can I tap into joy today? And then I would pull a tarot card for that. So the 2 keywords on the Spirit Song Tarot made great jumping off points for 3 cards, this one in the center, and then 2 tarot cards. And it was such a great practice, and I just loved it so much. It was wonderful for journaling. It was wonderful for daily draws. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and it just helped me bond with this deck in a new way. So really love the Spirit Song Tarot. This and the Joie de Vivre are both currently available. They're mass market. They're easy to get your hands on, and I think they're both really lovely. On the weekends, though, rather than pulling from the Spirit Song Tarot to start off my day ahead reading, I instead pulled from the Witchlings deck and book set, which is also Paulina Cassidy. So it was a Paulina Cassidy month, and it was really fun. So on the weekends, I would pull one of the Witchlings. If you haven't seen the Witchlings, oh my gosh, they're so cute. So this is kind of like a spell deck. So every card has a theme. So inspiration, an inspired mind is willing to reach beyond limitations. Or motivation. Motivation kindles the passion and energy needed in working toward your goals. So these are all really great concepts to work with for magical work. But what I found is that I would pull each one as a theme, as something to focus on for the day ahead. And then just like I did with the Spirit Song Tarot, I would then pull 2 cards from my Joie de Vivre, or even just one to put beside this with more of a bit of advice or more of a message. So that was really fun. I also, when I pulled a card from the Witchlings deck, I would refer to its guidebook, which is called the Witchlings Book of Spells. This is such a great little book. And for every one of the Witchlings, there actually are a few different little spells you can do just to tap into the energy that that card represents. And it's such a fun way to shake up your magical practice or bring in a little bit of intention to your magical practice. And I loved that. So that was a lot of fun. And these were basically the 3 decks that I used primarily through January, with one main exception. And that is this deck, which is the Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine. I have been using this deck specifically as kind of my bedtime deck. Now, I've talked about this ritual or this practice before, and I've used my Guardian Angel Tarot for this. But what I like to do is pull a message to meditate on or contemplate before I go to bed. And I really enjoy decks like this, like these Radley Valentine decks that have messages right on them for that practice, because I don't have to overthink it. I don't have to think, well, what is this card trying to tell me? It says right there what it's trying to tell me. The 5 of Air says, an unwise choice, learn what you can from this situation and review everyone's motives. Straightforward, right? But this deck has been really beautiful, and I've been using this deck as part of my spiritual practice more than I am for like divination. So it feels like my intention when I work with this deck at bedtime is to focus on my connection to the divine and focus on getting a message from the divine specifically. So I'm really trying to tap into my relationship with deity, my relationship with the divine, and get a connection or get a message that way. And so this deck, the Angel Tarot, has been absolutely perfect for that. It feels a little less hand-holdy than Guardian Angel. I think Guardian Angel is still going to be my go-to when I just want that feeling from cards that I get from like a really hot cup of tea and a cozy blanket. You know what I mean? That really nurturing, comforting feeling. These feel direct, but a little bit soft. So I would say both decks are similar, with Guardian Angel having an extra gentle feel, if that makes any sense at all. But I really love the Angel Tarot. I did a full walkthrough. I love how you have archangels for the major arcana. You have dragons for the fire suit, fairies for the earth suit, mermaids for the water suit, and unicorns for the air suit. Like, love it. And I love the artwork. If anything, I wish these cards were a little bit bigger. But then, because the artwork is so detailed, but I actually don't want to lose the words on the cards. And they're already kind of big cards. They're kind of oracle-sized cards as it is. So you can't really make them bigger, I feel like. But I do wish that the art was that I could see this art bigger. I mean, most of these pieces of art I would put on my wall. They're all stunning. Very fantasy art. They remind me a lot of fantasy art that was really popular in like the 90s. It's been really fun to work with this deck. It's really lovely, and it's been working perfectly as part of my spiritual practice. So I've been really, really enjoying that. I'm sure there's something I've forgotten here because I usually forget something, but I think that's it. I think that's it for my January show and tell. Hopefully in editing, I can get this under a ridiculously long amount of time and get it to something that's actually watchable. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. These are among my very favorite videos to film. I just love talking and showing all the things that I've been playing with and working with and doing, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoy show and tells, favorites videos, all those kinds of things. Subscribe if you're new here. And don't forget to check out the links down below for everything I've talked about that I could find links to, and all the links where you can help support the channel if you are so inclined. Thank you again so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.